Good afternoon, councillors, officers, members of the gallery and those joining us online today. It's my privilege to open the commencement of this meeting on account of the position of the office of Mayor becoming vacant. So I will, I guess, open with the formalities and deal with the first two agenda items for this afternoon's meeting. But firstly, I wish to read the prayer. But before I do that, I'll introduce our councillors. And immediately to my left, Councillor Kate Makin, Councillor Laurie Hickey, Councillor Ruth Australian and Councillor Jodie Beard. To my right, Councillor Jamie Vogels, Councillor Geraldine Canady and Councillor Nick Cole. And officers in the room, and I will go to my far left, Andrew Neal, Manager of Regulatory Services, Justine Lindley, Director of Sustainable Development, Sean Broadbent, Director of Works and Services. To my far right, Catherine Anderson, Manager of Governance and Civic Support, and Xavier Flanagan, Director of Corporate and Community Services. We'll begin with the prayer. We ask for guidance and blessing on this council. May the true needs and well-being of our communities be our concern. Help us who serve as leaders to remember that all our decisions are made in the best interests of the people, culture and the environment of the Corangamite Shire Council. Now the acknowledgement of country councillors. Corangamite Shire acknowledges and pays our respects to the Eastern Mar and Wadawurrung peoples as the traditional owner of the lands that we work, live and play. We also acknowledge their elders, past and present, and recognise their ongoing cultural, spiritual and educational practices. There are no apologies for this afternoon's meeting with all councillors present. I will move forward and ask if there are any declarations of conflicts of interest.
Yes, I have a conflict of interest on the first planning item, David, Mr. Ray.
And the nature of that conflict, Councillor Makin?
Friends, we go camping each year. The applicants go camping, yep.
Are there any other conflicts of interest?
Yeah, I've got a conflict of interest on the same agenda item, close personal friend.
Thank you, councillors. No other conflicts? No. Okay. I would just ask now that we have a confirmation of the minutes from the 28th of October 2025. Can I have someone to move the confirmation of the minutes, please? Councillor Cole, Councillor Australian. Would you wish to speak to that motion, Councillor Cole?
No, thank you. No, I'm right, thank you.
Councillor Australian?
No, thank you, Mr.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, with a show of hands. The motion is carried. Thank you very much. Councillor, the first item of business to be transacted this evening is in relation to the term of office for the position of Mayor, and if so elected, the same term of office will apply to the Deputy Mayor. Council may set a term of office not exceeding a 2-year period. Customary, the term of office has been for a 1-year period. The recommendation is before you, councillors, that you determine the length of the term of office being for a period of 1 or 2 years, and then you set the mayoral election within that time frame as well. So, can I have someone move a motion or around the term of office? Councillor Beard.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I'd like to move the motion that the length of mayoral term will be for 1 year, which means the scheduled meeting would then be in council for council in November 2026.
Okay. So the motion for 1 year mayoral term with a scheduled election for November 2026. Can I have someone to second that motion, please? Councillor Canady. Councillor Beard, do you want to speak?
Just very briefly. Look, it's worked well for us. I think every other year. So I think it's if we stick to that until it's broke, we don't need to fix it. So 1 year. Thank you.
Councillor Canady.
Yeah, I have a similar view to Councillor Beard.
Thank you. Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Thank you. I put the motion. All those in favour by the show of hands. That motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. The next item of business is in relation to the election of Mayor. In relation to the election of Mayor, the process has been outlined in your report, and I will call for nominations. If there is only one nomination, that nominee will be declared the mayor for the next 12 months. If there are more than 2 nominations, I will call for those nominees to speak to the nomination, and then call through the show of hands those in support of those nominees. Each nomination must be seconded by another councillor. A councillor may nominate themselves, however, that nomination must also be seconded as well. And so I will now call for nominations for the position of Mayor of Corangamite Shire Council for the next 12 months. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Sir. I'd like to nominate Councillor Macon.
Okay. Councillor Macon, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. CEO.
Councillor Pastrana.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I'd like to nominate Councillor Canady.
Councillor Canady, do you accept the nomination?
I do accept the nomination.
I will probably need someone to second the nominations for Councillor.
Acceptance would be seconding.
Is there a second to the nomination? Councillor for Councillor Macon, so Councillor Hickey. Councillor Canady, is there a second? Councillor Hickey, thank you. I will invite now councillors to speak to the nomination and by order of nomination. So, Councillor Macon.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. CEO. Fellow councillors, it will come no surprise to you here today that I stand before you to seek your support for the role of Mayor. It has truly been an honour to serve in this position for the last 2 years. I've grown a great deal, I've learned even more, and I still know I have more to give to this council, to our organisation, but most importantly, to our community. There are 3 reasons why I'm putting my hand up again today. First, I believe it is vital that rural voices continue to be heard, clearly, concisely and confidently, at every table, at every conversation and in every decision-making space. No level of government. I have made real progress in ensuring Corangamite's needs are not overlooked, and I want to keep building on this momentum. Secondly, continuity matters as we head into a state election year. This is a time when council can either lose their influence or strengthen their position. Strong, steady leadership will help ensuring that our priorities from agriculture, drought support, roads, housing, workforce, childcare and the cost of living pressures remain front and centre. And thirdly, over the past 2 years, I have worked hard to build genuine, respectful relationships across government, industry and regional bodies. These relationships, including being invited by the Premier onto the Drought Task Force, give Corangamite a stronger voice, open doors that we continue to walk through together. Councillors, it would be an honour and a privilege to continue serving our community as your Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. I invite Councillor Canady to speak to
Thank
the
you, Mr.
nomination.
CEO. Councillors, of course you know the role of your Mayor as one of leadership, representation, advocacy and support. What are the traits that you value in your Mayor? Clear principles and strong values, integrity, authenticity, fairness, respect. You should want a leader who can inspire trust, is approachable and empathetic. One who will be prepared, keep focus on our objectives and recognise opportunity. Who can be collaborative, impartial, accountable, who will listen and who is capable of developing sound relationships. One who believes in a strong and especially the right culture and can act for real purpose and within held values. How will your Mayor represent and reflect our communities and this council? What is the impact your Mayor will have in our communities? And what is the impact your Mayor will have within our council organisation? These are very important considerations in your decision. I know I can deliver. I offer constructive leadership. And I will foster a unified, cohesive and productive council environment. I know I can act effectively and I can do that with the interests of our Corangamite community at heart. Thank you, Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Councillor Canadian. Councillors, now we'll ask through the showing of hands your vote for the nominees. There must be an absolute majority for them to be cleared for the mayor to be elected, and so by order of nominee, I invite those who wish to vote in favour of Councillor Macon as mayor for the next 12 months to do so by show of hands, please. Okay, and so from my right, Councillor Cole, Councillor Vogels, Councillor Macon and Councillor Hickey. For those who wish to vote in favour of Councillor Canadian, please do so by show of hands. From my right, Councillor Canadian, Councillor Pastreen and Councillor Beard. It's my privilege to now declare the Mayor of Corangamite Shire Council for the next 12 months to be Councillor Macon. Congratulations, Councillor Macon.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Moving on, go to item 6.3, election of the Deputy Mayor, Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, in your governance rules and within the Act, Council may choose to establish the position of Deputy Mayor. And if so established, Council will then need to proceed to elect a Deputy Mayor in accordance with the governance rules, not dissimilar to the process for the election of the Mayor. So a two-part recommendation, Mayor, which I would suggest you deal with separately. So firstly, resolve if there will be a Deputy Mayor, and if so, proceed to elect a Mayor.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Ray. So, councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Firstly, to resolve if there will be Deputy Mayor. Do I have someone to move a recommendation, or Councillor Vogel, sorry?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move that we have a Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that one? Councillor Cole, thank you. All those in favour of that recommendation?
I'll speak to it.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry, Councillor Vogel, would you like to speak to it?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Because I think councils function best when there's a clear, stable leadership structure, and Deputy Mayor is part of this practice across all of Victoria, and most of Australia even have a Deputy Mayor on their councils. I think this structure improves transparency and strengthens accountability and ensures leadership continuity during emergencies, and it provides a trusted second in command to act immediately. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vogels. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I agree with Councillor Vogels. Even when we have the small hall committees and things, we have a vice president or whatever, and it's a great way of having a backup, because things happen, unfortunately, or the mayor gets busy or whatever, and you need someone standing behind to take the reins and keep it going. So I have no trouble moving the office of Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Is there anyone else who'd like to have a comment on the recommendation? No. If not, I'll put it all to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. So I'll now call for nominations for Deputy Mayor. Councillor Beard.
I'd like to move the recommendation of Councillor Canady as Deputy Mayor, please.
Councillor Canady, do you accept your recommendation?
I do accept. Thank you, Mayor.
No worries, thank you. Do I have a seconder for that one, please? Councillor Strain, thank you. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move Councillor Hickey for the position.
Councillor Hickey, do you accept your nomination?
Yes, Mayor, I do.
No worries, thank you. Can I have a seconder for Councillor Hickey, please? Councillor Cole, thank you. Same as before, you can have a moment to have a speak. I'll go in order of nominations. Councillor Canady, would you like to make a statement?
Well, my statement would be very similar to that I made in my pitch for Mayor. So obviously the position is quite clear. It's one of support to the Mayor. I'm certainly equipped and skilled enough for that role, and would be very happy to provide whatever support you require.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Councillor Hickey?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, and by me, I've enjoyed the role as Deputy Mayor in the previous 12 months, as many of you would know. The Mayor and I have travelled many kilometres in the past 12 months, and I've had a great insight into the knowledge and the strengths and the vulnerabilities and the lives and the style of leadership that the Mayor brings. I've learned that Deputy is someone who can lead from the second seat, and while enabling the person in the front to excel. I've learned that Deputy Mayor is one of the best deputies operate with influence, stability, foresight and humility. As a deputy, I will continue to learn. I will continue to build relationships. I will show up every time and on time. I will continue to bring people together, and I will continue to listen. I think we have provided strong leadership, but more than that, we are stronger for the community by having some sound leadership, and I think that is something that is essential to Corangamite Shire. So, thanks for listening.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, through you,
Councillor Beard.
Madam Mayor, just as a mover of one
Yeah, of
of
course.
the motions, I'd just like to say that regardless of what happens moving forward, we will continue to be a united and hard-working council, and both Councillor Canady and obviously Councillor Hickey having most previous experience, but Councillor Canady also having had Deputy Mayor experience. I think we're very fortunate we've got two really great candidates, so I just wanted to make sure that was acknowledged.
No worries. Thank you, Councillor Beard, and duly acknowledged. Thank you. So all those in favour for Councillor Canady, can you please show your hands? Councillor Beard, Councillor Strain. No? No show of hands? Show of hands? Sorry, I didn't see it. Councillor Canady, sorry, I didn't see your hand. And all those in favour of Councillor Hickey, show your hands please. I have Councillor Cole, Councillor Vogels, Councillor Macon and Councillor Hickey. Congratulations, Councillor Hickey. You're Deputy Mayor for the next 12 months. Congratulations. So moving on, we have no deputations or presentations today. We have no committee reports. We move on to item 9.1, which is a planning report, which Councillor Vogels and myself have a conflict for, so we'll step out of the room. And Councillor Hickey, you're stepping into the chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councillors. I now call on planning permit application for Cobden Port Campbell Road, Newfield. Mr. Neal, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and through you. Council must consider planning permit application PP 2025/092 seeking approval for the re-subdivision of 2 lots and alteration of access to a transport zone 2 at 1940 Cobden Port Campbell Road, Newfield. The proposal seeks to create a small lot to exercise the existing dwelling from the balance of the farmland. Public notice was given and no objections were received. The application has been assessed against the Corangamite planning scheme. The assessment concludes that the proposed subdivision, which would create an isolated rural residential lot within the farming zone, does not align with the strategic direction, planning policies or controls of the scheme. It is recommended that Council issue a notice of decision to refuse to grant a planning permit. Deputy Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Councillors, the recommendation is before you. Will have someone please move that recommendation? No. Councillor Gastrain, and seconded by Councillor Beard. Councillor Gastrain.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. I agree with the recommendation from our planning team. When we look at this small subdivision of just over 3 hectares of land, and the balance of the lot being 76.36 hectares, it once again is fragmenting agricultural land and creating a lot that has no direct link with the surrounding farming operations. I'm concerned also that the fact that this piece of land, it's not at the front of the block, it's actually got a significant driveway down through a Battle Axe subdivision. I can see, in the short term there may not be issues with these small lots, but in the long term when you have a number of people who are looking for a tree change, sea change, move down to the country and find that they're surrounded by a farming operation, you certainly have those issues around amenity and perhaps loss of amenity and then there becomes issues about right to farm. So I think in this case, I know that we've had a number of these come to us recently, and I think we've taken the right attitude and try to dissuade people from looking at these sorts of subdivisions in the future.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gastroin. Councillor Beard, is there something you'd like to add too?
Thank you, and through you, Deputy Mayor. Look, very similar thinking to Councillor Gastroin. I'd also like to add that with the remaining large lot of this subdivision, it still doesn't. It still has the ability to provide another dwelling on that property, which then in turn, in the future, you could end up with another parcel of fragmentation. So this is all around protecting agricultural farming land. It's a really tough one because you know the applicants, as most applicants, they're doing it for the right reasons. It probably is just a true reflection again of how important it is when applications, before they come to council, that there is some pre-planning happening with the planning team to try and go through some of these processes to try and try and get the best outcome for both parties. So it's unfortunate that we're not seeing those sort of things happening, but when you see the depth of I guess stringent, what's gone over in terms of looking through the framework, our planning, everything that goes into these reviews, it's really important that everything gets checked over and it's very thorough. And we don't come up with a recommendation to not, to refuse for no reason. So it's important that we continue to look at the bigger picture of protecting our prime agricultural farming land, and that is the case in this particular application.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillors, any further comment on the recommendation? If not, I shall put the recommendation. All those in favour? Those against? It's duly carried. Thanks, Mr. CEO.
Sorry. Radio, moving on to item 9.2, the PS Amendment Timboon Precinct Plan rezoning 30 Bailey Street, Timboon. Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Council adopted the Timboon Precinct Plan in August 2024. In May 2025, Council resolved to seek authorisation from the Minister for Planning for Planning Scheme Amendment C68, which will implement policy changes to incorporate the Timboon Precinct Plan into the Corangamite planning scheme. This report recommends including the rezoning of the former senior citizens site at 30 Bailey Street, Timboon, from public park and recreation zone to public use zone as part of Amendment C68. The rezoning is necessary to support the precinct plan's recommendation for the former Timboon Senior Citizens Centre. Madam Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Councillors, there's a recommendation before you. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Beard. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm moving that we serve the officers a recommendation. And I just want to acknowledge the Timboon community, local businesses and the project working group who've all had a hand in shaping the precinct plan. The folks who turned up to workshops, shared ideas and were honest about what they wanted for the future of the town centre. And this input has guided every step of this work. The rezoning of the former senior citizens building is simply the next practical step in putting that shared vision into action. The site is identified as a key opportunity to create multi-purpose community and commercial facility, supporting local activities, business growth and the community use. To enable future use of this, Council is proposing to change the zoning from public park and recreation to public use zone, which is the appropriate zoning for the community facilities on council-owned land. The rezoning will form part of the Planning Scheme Amendment C68, which gives statutory effect to the Timboon Precinct Plan. Once authorisation is received from the Minister for Planning, the amendment will be placed on public exhibition, giving the community an opportunity to view the proposal and provide feedback. And I am looking forward to working with the community as this important project progresses. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Beard.
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Vogels. I think you've nearly checked it all off there. Very thorough. I just think it's great that we can take advantage of the fact that most of the hard work had already been done through this amendment process, and this is, I guess, an anomaly. We could almost call it an opportunity as well, where we're able to add this particular piece to get rezoned onto the already awaiting C68 that's before the minister. So I think we're fortunate that as a small piece, it would have been probably lost in translation somewhat, whereas because it's now going to combine with the existing C68 amendment process, I think hopefully it will be streamlined a lot better. And this is a great opportunity for the township of Timboon and for commercial business to be able to operate out of that infrastructure there. So, as I said, hard work's already done. This is just to try and fast track this part of this little missing piece now.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Beard. Any other comments, councillors? No, Councillor Cole. Yep.
Sorry, yeah, I've just, as a bit of a visitor to Timboon, where the building sits and things in relation to Powers Creek and everything, that is an absolute gem in the crown of the Timboon. I think that whole area, as we've witnessed on Saturday with Grays a Day, it was a fantastic event, and I just think more power to them, and if this goes ahead and keeps improving the area, it's nothing but good. So.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Nothing else? No, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. 9.3 is the Camperdown Structure Plan. Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The Camperdown Structure Plan sets a clear vision for the town's sustainable growth over the next 15 years. It provides strategic directions for housing, economic development, transport and community infrastructure to ensure Camperdown remains vibrant, walkable and resilient. Developed through extensive community and stakeholder consultation, the plan reflects local feedback and addresses key challenges such as housing supply, population change and climate resilience. It includes actions to protect the town's character, enhance livability and attract investment. The final plan is now presented to Council for adoption. Once adopted, it will form the basis for a future planning scheme amendment to implement its recommendations. Any amendment will be subject to a separate report to Council in due course. Madam Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Castrain. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hickey. Councillor Castrain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm really pleased that this has been quite the journey that's been happening over the last 12 months, so it's great to see the final structure plan being presented to Council and ready for adoption, which is absolutely fantastic. That, as Mr. Neal mentioned, highlighted in the project control group and people making submissions, is the maintaining and enhancing the character of Camperdown is certainly very important. We're looking at putting a 2-storey height maximum on residences throughout the town, rezoning some additional land which is currently commercial 2 south of Bower Street to a neighbourhood residential zone to encourage new buildings. Upgrading and repurposing the land that was the former sale yard site on the edge of Camperdown is very important. We're hearing quite a lot these days about tree canopy cover, and I think that's important. A part of Camperdown's character is not only its heritage values but also the avenues and the significant tree canopies that we have. We're looking at creating safer streets and reducing speed limits throughout the town. Indeed, what we've done at this stage already, you might be aware, is that in Bowen Street, the speed limit has dropped from 60 down to 50. So that's just to make it a safer place for particularly families, young children and older people to walk and to exercise. Investment in community facilities in the future will certainly be important, and Council will be strong advocates at federal and state level, looking for grant funding to maintain our assets. So as Mr. Neal said, this is keeping Camperdown as a vibrant place to live, work and play. So I'm delighted. I'd like to thank the project working group, the consultants that were working with us on this project, as well as anyone who's made submissions. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Castrain. Councillor Hickey.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. This is a very exciting draft structure plan, and it's gone and been formulated hand in hand with our community and local stakeholders. So the project working group was chaired by Councillor Castrain, and it involved a cast of thousands, really, with everybody having a say. The community conversation started back in November 2024 and built up momentum for the background report that was released last February. It's also important to point out that the structure plan became part of Mega March so the council's major deliberative engagement program, and that was tied to the council plan, to the community vision, the asset plan, the long-term financial plan, and the community health and wellbeing plan. So these opportunities to get together and discuss the plan were very lively, and they created quite a buzz around the halls of the ones I attended. And the community was invited for 28 days to jump online and to make a comment through the Have Your Say program. And yes, I think this draft plan is looking very good. And again, the significance of this hasn't been wasted on myself. So very happy to second the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillors, is there anything else you have a conversation? Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think I agree completely with the previous two speakers, and I'll just say that, and this includes Terang and all the other structure plans we're doing, why would you want to live anywhere else? We need to, it's a fabulous part of the world, all the towns around, so lucky to have them, and the open spaces and the access to the beach and up north hinterland. So yeah, I fully endorse all these plans. I reckon this one, the Terang, and the others that are going ahead, wonderful thing to do. So more than happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Is there any other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. We move on to item 9.4, the Terang Structure Plan. Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The Terang Structure Plan has been prepared to update outdated strategic planning and respond to growing community interest in the town's future. It establishes a long-term framework to guide sustainable growth, protect local character, enhance livability. Following public consultation on the draft plan in June 2025, community and stakeholder feedback has been incorporated, along with further analysis of potential sites for aged care and retirement living. The structure plan is now presented to Council for adoption. Any associated planning scheme amendment will be addressed in a separate report to Council at a later stage. Madam Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Canady. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hickey. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is a very important visionary document, as is the Camperdown Structure Plan, but I think it's such important work that we're doing, getting on the front foot, looking ahead and identifying issues, opportunities for sustainable growth in our towns, and planning ahead to be able to accommodate appropriate growth into the future. One thing that I was really pleased about with the development of the Terang Structure Plan was just how invested the community was in contributing to the pot of ideas, if you like, and also helping us to understand what the needs are in Terang, what people see as important for the development of the town. And I think we were able to capture that very, very well within that structure plan, the document that's in front of us today. So I think the community has been a very, very strong contributor to the final document. Some of the things that were identified by the community were childcare, key worker housing, the town character. They too, the Terang community also loves our trees in the town avenue, the Mary Bradshaw Avenue. Heritage is another thing that's important to the people of Terang, and of course that feeds into town character. Again, the structure plan looks at the future planning would keep the two level built character of the town that exists at the moment. One of the very big requests and needs that were identified was retirement living in Terang since the May Noonan Hostel closed some years ago now. So that is something that's in the minds of a number of different age groups and demographics in town. It is a real need, and that has been addressed in the structure plan that we have here today. we have been looking at some options for a site for retirement village, and I'm pleased that that we've done some preliminary work around that, and that we have the site options assessment, which is an attachment to the terrain structure plan. So that's outlining some of the pros and cons of 3 different sites within the town. Actually, I think there's four total sites that were looked at, and certainly that will be of value to the committee that's working on the retirement village in Terang in the future. But otherwise, I think that we've got a very strong document. I think that it is has captured good planning and achievable development in Terang, and also like the safeguarding of the character and the livability of Terang, and we'll go towards improving all of that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Councillor Hickey?
Thank you, Mayor. And there's little to say other than the fact that this is a very significant piece of work. It does give Terang a definite plan to move forward. Councillor Cole and myself attended the Terang Historic Society annual dinner last night, and it was very, very obvious from the comments that were made to us from the audience that Terang is very proud of their history and very proud of where they're going. So this plan will certainly give them a vision for Terang moving forward, and I'm very happy to second the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Are there any other comments? Councillor Vogels?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll make a comment because I was actually born in Terang.
Now we know.
Now you know where the problems come from. It's all good. I just think it's so important that as these towns grow, we need to protect their character. We can do that through listening to good community feedback that we can take on board, and I think this plan sets out a strong and sustainable future, and I support the adoption as well.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I was born in Camperdown, so I'll declare that conflict. As I said before, all these towns, Terang as well, we are so lucky to have them, and the foresight of our foregone generations that laid them out. They're extraordinarily well laid out with their avenues of trees, etc., and they just build so much character into the area. And why would you want to live anywhere else? Is my statement.
Very true, Councillor Cole. Any other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I'll move on to item 9.5, the Skipton Structure Plan Planning Scheme Amendment. Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Council adopted the Skipton Structure Plan in 2024 and commenced the process of seeking ministerial authorisation to prepare an amendment to the Corangamite planning scheme to give effect to the plan. Since the beginning of the year, there have been numerous discussions with officers from the Department of Transport and Planning. Due to inconsistencies with the state planning policy and current guidelines for structure plan, it is likely that the planning scheme amendment C64 will not be supported nor authorised by the Minister for Planning. It is proposed that Council withdraw the request for authorisation and that officers from the DTP and Regional Planning Hub be approached to work with Council to rescope the structure plan. Consideration for any new growth for the town is to focus on flooding and its social and economic impacts and options for possible mitigation. Madam Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Council, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Cole. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Canady. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just changing a few things as far as I can see, but Skipton is a great place to visit and live as well. It unfortunately gets flooded occasionally, not all the time, just occasionally, and the new plan of the town is to keep as much away from that flooding area. So basically the flood happens, 2 or 3 days later the flood goes away, they can hose it out and start again, and it interrupts the flow of the town, the traffic, etc. for those few days, and then it gets on with it back in where it was. That is the hope and aim of this all to happen. As I said, most of the new structure of Skipton is going well above the flood zone. If they get flooded out there, heaven help a lot of other people around the district as well. So no troubles moving this, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the rescope really is the most logical way forward. The proposed structure plan's been in the public zone for a little while now. I see in our notes here that Council has been engaging with DTP over a period of time to provide more information to DTP to justify the proposed C1Z and NRZ growth area on the eastern boundary of the town that we had hoped to be incorporated into the structure plan, but they are not, the DTP obviously are not prepared to accept that proposal. So yes, obviously we need to work with them over the next several months and come up with a design that's going to be acceptable to DTP and also of value to Skipton and the Skipton community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Any other comments? Councillor Beard and then Councillor Constrain. Councillor Beard.
No, I think I only just got you, Councillor Constrain.
Yeah, very quick.
Look, I think this just shows the Skipton community how much we care that you could just let it sit there and try and let it get through, but it's not going to, so all we're doing is holding up time. The fact that the officers have been in constant conversations with DTP, obviously we know it's not going to get over the line, the current form it's in. So the best thing to do and to keep the momentum going and to show Skipton that we've got their back and that we want to have that community, set for a place into the future as well as it can be. And we know there's issues there around obviously flooding and the capabilities of the community to grow. So it's really important that we back this plan still, and it just shows that we still highly value this process, but obviously we just wanted to keep the traction going. So I think this is the best result moving forward.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Constrain.
Councillor Beard's just about summed it up. I was just going to express my disappointment that it's taken so long to get through to this point in time, and that I certainly hope there are funds available through Regional Planning Hub and DTP, because there's a considerable amount of money being spent on this plan. It went through a very deep engagement process with the community of Skipton, so it's disappointing that DTP don't agree with what people want to do in their own town. So let's hope that we don't have to sit on this too long, that we get in the Regional Planning Hub team and they bring their checkbooks. If there's such a thing still.
Thank you, Councillor Constrain, and well said, and you've taken all my words as well, so congratulations and good. Councillor Vogels, would you like to say the last word?
Oh, no.
No,
that's not the last word. I think we're still
you're not.
Just talking, aren't we?
We are, yes.
That's fine, thank you. So, no, just like to say it's good that we've got a good relationship with the, what do they call themselves, the Regional Planning Hub, so that we've obviously get a heads up and that it's not going to get through. And I think it shows good sense to be nimble and not step back, but just reset the path as we move forward, because we still want to get Skipton's future growth up and positive.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. No other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Rightio, moving on to Officer Reports. So we have item 10.1, Quarterly Council Plan Initiatives Progress. Ms Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The initiatives are derived from the 2025 to 2029 Council Plan, a strategic document which sets out the priorities and direction of the Council. This report outlines the progress against these initiatives for the first quarter, being July to September 2025. There are 68 initiatives covering the areas of policy, plan or strategy, service and advocacy. As at 30 September, of the 68 initiatives, 6 were completed, 54 in progress and 8 still to be started. Madam Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Anderson. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Constrain, do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Beard, Councillor Constrain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I just start with a question from Ms Anderson, please? And it's a question without notice, but the second project was expand the community emergency planning program to one additional town. Work's underway. I'm just wondering, where is that additional town?
I will have to take that on notice because it's not specifically in my area, or unless one of the directors could speak to that.
That's okay.
Take that on notice.
Follow that up. I'm sorry, I should have given you some notice. I apologise. I thought this was a terrific report, and I think the fact that we have 68 initiatives, 6 are completed and 54 are in progress. So that's only 8 that haven't started, and we're well along. It's a quarterly report, and we're into that second quarter now. So I'm expecting to see some more green dots in the next report. But it was certainly very good and very concise and very easy to read. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Castrain. Councillor Beard?
Yeah, mine was literally just to acknowledge the amount of work that's already been achieved and the fact that this, at the start of the quarter, we had some carry forwards and some significant projects that still had to be delivered even prior to this beginning. So it's pretty amazing to think that that's been occurring, and then we're still so far of achievement through these next lot of projects. So that's just a genuine shout out to the staff, really. And it's such a broad mix of projects that are there and initiatives. So certainly looking forward to seeing what comes through in the second or in the next half, or the next quarter, I should say.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. I think my Mr CEO has an update to the question that Councillor Castrain
So,
had.
yeah, the response to Councillor Castrain's question, with thanks to Linda Bennett, is Simpson.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, Ms Bennett.
Councillors, is there any other comments to be made? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Move on to item 10.2, S11A, Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation, Planning Environment Act 1987. Ms Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The S11A instrument enables Council to authorise officers under the Planning and Environment Act 1987. The changes to this instrument reflect recent staffing changes. Madam Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Anderson. Councillors, is the recommendation before us? Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels, do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's rather procedural, and it just ensures council staff have the proper legal authority to carry out their duties and update the list of who's actually on the list to enforce powers valid and accountable. So I move the council endorses the updated instrument of appointment and authorisation and affixes the common seal and revokes the previous instrument dated 26th of August 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels, for being very precise. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's purely procedural, and I do like the way Colin's writing it. Thank you.
Who's Colin? Thank you, Councillor Cole. Is there any other comments? If not, put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 10.3, the ministerial guidelines for councils relating to payment of rates and charges. Mr. Jaiwaranda. No, I said it wrong again. Sorry, Mr. PJ. Sorry, I have to call you PJ. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To you. The purpose of this report is to provide Council a summary of the recently issued ministerial guidelines relating to the payment of rates and charges, and to compare those with the Council's rates and charges collections and hardship policy. The report identifies areas of alignment, differences and opportunities for improvement to ensure Council's policy comply with the legislation requirement and reflect the best practice once finalised in its current form. The recommendations are before you, Madam Mayor, and happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jaiwaranda. Right, sorry. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for those ones, please? Councillor Canady, seconder, Councillor Beard. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I certainly support this recommendation. The department's proposing some new guidelines in this regard. I could certainly acknowledge that there is often hardship of various kinds in our community when it comes to paying rates, and certainly the reason that we've always had a policy around payment of rates in the case of hardship, our hardship policy as we call it. So certainly it's, rates being some 48% of council revenue, which goes towards supporting community services and many other issues, is I think the need to provide feedback is very important. We need to get some balance, a balancing alignment with these guidelines, these new proposed guidelines against Council's long-term financial sustainability. Certainly we've noted the impact of long-term and growing level of unpaid rates, and certainly we want to be able to support our community in that regard, but also we can't ignore the impacts that the revised guidelines might have on regional councils similar to our own. So hopefully that will eventually be, there'll be an outcome of a much better set of guidelines that are going to be supportive both for communities and for the councils that must manage those situations. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Beard.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. It's probably more of a question, and I'm really sorry, Mr. Jai Wanderer, but I was wondering if, even though it says there's no financial implications, I'm suspecting that's based on potentially the letter that, or our what we're proposing for the CEO to do in the recommendation. But surely going down the track, there's going to be a financial, whether it be resourcing, because I think that's something we can be really proud of, is those hardship policies that we've had in place for many years now. And I feel like we've always been flexible, very accommodating, and I would like to think that we tick off a lot of the proposed guidelines already, but there is going to have to be some reworking of some of it. But there's surely got to be some implications around having to redo those like making sure that we're compliant. So I was just wondering if there is any maybe hidden down the track that we don't know about. And it probably does hit up a little bit on what Councillor Kennedy said around is there, there could potentially be cost implications on small rural councils, particularly who are already doing it tough through cost shifting and regulatory requirements that we're not having any say in. We're just having to comment all the time and enforce them. But I just want to know what the implications potentially will be.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So the guidelines has two parts. There are 4 mandatory guidelines and the others are voluntary. So on page 205, we have identified the differences that we have between our policy and the proposed guidelines. So main changes are around transparency and the communications and things like that, rather than the financial implications. We have one ratepayer at the moment that we have deferred, but we are not charging interest anyway on them. So there's no financial implications from that side. But the main things are around the transparency and the communication. So I think that the financial implications of the mandatory proposed guidelines would be minimal.
So it's more around the communication of what we have available. Because one thing, that we've always been proud of is that at least give you guys a call to talk through if there's any hardship issues, and there's so many different options in place that no one wants to see anyone having to go through it. So everyone's trying to be really workable about it. So we continue to encourage that, and it seems to be more around that communication. But certainly happy to second. Do I second or third that? Second.
You second that one. You're the second person to speak. Councillor Beard, thank you. Any other comments, councillors? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried, and thank you. Item 10.4, Gas Plant Community Liaison and Reference Committees. Ms Lindley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Corangamite Shire is recognised as one of Australia's gas communities, and there are 3 long-standing gas companies involved in gas production, storage and distribution located in the Shire. These companies draw from the natural gas which is located in the Otway offshore basin. The report before you is for you to consider revised arrangements for the operation of the community liaison and community reference groups for those gas facilities that are located within our Shire. In particular, the Beach Energy Otway Gas Plant at Warrie, the Amplitude Energy Otway Basin Athena Gas Plant, which is towards Peterborough, and the Lockhart Energy Iona Gas Storage Facility, which was recently described to us as a bank for gas rather than a producing activity. Those reference groups have been in place for quite a number of years, and it's timely to review those arrangements. the recommendations before you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Lindley. Councillors, we have a recommendation for us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hickey. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and it's probably most important that I move this one because I chair the three CRG and CLC meetings with Lockhart, Beach and Amplitude gas plants. So the gas plants, they've been a large part of Corangamite economy and community for decades now. They support local jobs, food production and processing, and increasingly helping to stabilise the energy grid to keep the lights on. Importantly, 100% of the gas produced locally goes to the domestic market, and it's the energy source that enables milk to be processed locally, and that keeps our dairy industry strong and our economy and economically viable. This in turn keeps the wheels of agriculture turning and supports a vibrant local economy. These liaison and reference committees are how we keep the community engaged and informed and ensure community representatives can sit at the table alongside industry and regulators. I'd like to thank the previous community representatives for their time and their local knowledge, and that has been invaluable. And some of these people have been on there since they were first created. I would also like to thank the gas plants for their open and honest engagement and for the community benefit programs they operate and are rightly proud of. Following a review earlier this year, it is proposed that we update these arrangements, revising the terms of reference and extending community appointments to 4 years. And this will strengthen continuity, reduce duplication and broaden opportunities for community participation. So I move that Council endorses the revised arrangements, calls for nominations for a new 4-year term and notes Amplitude Energy's revised engagement program for the Athena gas plant.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Hickey.
I just point out that whilst Corangamite doesn't have much to do with the gas production, we do actually have a responsibility to oversee the production of it, and the way that it works through the reference groups is one way of doing so. And I would just take the opportunity to thank Councillor Vogels, who I would guess was about November 2020 first elected to the groups and has continued to serve on those groups continually since that time. So very happy to second the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillors, is there any other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I move on to item 10.5, reading now grants, approved allocation July to September 2025. Ms McMahon.
Thank you, Mayor. The Ready Now grant program is a small grant program with grants of up to $500 available. It focuses on supporting community groups and activities where small grants can make a difference. The program is flexible with quick responses, and applications are open year-round and assessed as they are received. Approval of the applications are delegated to the CEO. Grants are open to volunteer-based community groups operating within Corangamite Shire. In Q1, there were 24 applications received with 20 grants provided for a range of initiatives, including Are You OK Day events, signage, food equipment, basketball coaching and Halloween community event. Councillors, the recommendation is before you.
Thanks, Ms McMahon. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Cole. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Gastrain. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've moved this one a few times and I keep saying the same thing. I think these are excellent programs for small community bodies to be able to access funds quickly to do all sorts of things. Line marking for stairwells in the Lunarat Recreation Reserve, all sorts of small, as I say, small things, but they mean a lot to a small community. And a lot of small communities are struggling to raise funds at the moment. Everything seems to have tightened up a lot, so if we can keep these going. I will note that we've expended so far $6,800 out, and we still have $18,200 to go. So there is plenty more money out there to access if someone has something they're thinking about doing. There are only small amounts of money, but please put in for it and get the money there and get the job done, and use local tradies as much as possible, or shop locally.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Gastrain.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And yes, a lot of really good projects and equipment been purchased, and certainly agree with Councillor Cole that people are certainly doing it much harder. Like community organisations, particularly volunteers, they need to be spending the work delivering programs, not doing fundraising. Just like to also note that a significant number of projects were awarded money for the Are You OK Day. So that's a really good initiative. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Castrain. Councillors, any other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I'll move on to item 10.6, the grants and funding policy. Ms McMahon.
Thank you, Mayor. Council's existing grant policy was adopted in November 22. This policy guides Council's grant programs, including the community, facility, environment support, enabling and Berrybank Wind Farm grant programs. A review of the current policy has been undertaken and a new policy has been drafted. The new policy will provide a framework for Council to continue to deliver grant programs that support a wide range of community groups and initiatives. The new policy will also now support the Ready Now grants and the festival and event grant streams and provide policy direction on other funding opportunities. Councillors, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms McMahon. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Castrain, do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Cole, Councillor Castrain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's significant when you look at the number of grant programs that we do run, so it makes absolute sense that the Events and Festivals grant and the Ready Now grants come under this policy, so that they're encompassed in the one policy. I think too the opportunity to mix applications to make sure they get into the right fit, or to manipulate the budgets, I suppose, if some one fund is undersubscribed and another is oversubscribed. So that's certainly an advantage. And also the introduction of that a majority of them are annual grants. However, if a grant is the full amount is unspent, then there is money there available if need be during the year if something comes up. So I think we keep tweaking this policy, and I think we nearly get it right. Well done, Mr. McMahon.
Very true. Thanks, Councillor Castrain. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I completely agree with Councillor Castrain. One thing I will note is the Berrybank Wind Farms grant, which is a product of the wind turbines that are up at Berrybank, administered by GPG. That program's oversubscribed a long way. We're getting money into the community and from an outside source, which I think is a brilliant thing. They are doing a lot of small projects, but they do want to do some legacy projects as well. So it's just a matter of getting people to realise that this money is available from all these different areas to prop up. So you may be thinking about doing something. There may well be a grant, so get in touch with the Shire Grants Committee crew, and they may have something there that no one knows about that they may be able to get money for. So it's well worth asking the question. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillors, is there any other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 10.7, Business Assistance Scheme, November applications. Ms McMahon.
Thank you, Mayor. This month we have 2 Business Assistance Scheme applications which are recommended for funding, being one in Stream 2, which is the Creative Industries and Placemaking Stream, for the Camperdown Nursery and Mart. This project activates Ware Street with a free, family-friendly night of entertainment, market stalls, food vans and children's activities. The funding assistance requested is $2,000. The second application is for Stream 3 Community Enterprises Projects for Port Campbell Surf Life Saving Club. The project is seeking to deliver RSA training and accreditation to upskill volunteers and strengthen the club's capacity to host activities and events. The funding assistance requested is approximately $1,800. Councillors, the applications are recommended for your approval.
Thank you, Ms McMahon. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Hickey, can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Beard, Councillor Hickey.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. These funding applications are both very, very worthwhile. The Camperdown Nursery and Mart and the Port Campbell Surf Life Saving Club. The first being successful under the Creative Industries and Placemaking, because this event brings Ware Street to life for a family-friendly night featuring entertainment, market stalls, food vans, children's activities. And the second one is under the Community Enterprise Programs, which is giving the Port Campbell Surf Lifesaving Club the money to run an accredited RSA training for their volunteers and helping build the club's capacity to be able to conduct and run events at their venue. So very happy to move these.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Beard?
Thank you, and through you, and happy to support this recommendation. And I just want to, as a little, did you know, for the application for the nursery, Camperdown Nursery Mart, and I was looking at the experience that they're hoping to hold that night with that event, and they've got Nathan Griggs, who, mind you, is better and well known as Nathan Whippy Griggs, who I actually have I'll say it, a stubby holder in my caravan after seeing him in the Northern Territory. He's amazing, and he does whip cracking. So if anyone's into that, I can't believe he's coming to Victoria. This is amazing. I might go and get it signed. Actually, I think he's already signed it. But for anyone, what a great family event that will be. So just thought I would. I've given them a little promotion for that event now, haven't I?
Well done.
But yeah, I can see Councillor Hickey's already going to be ready to go.
Thinking about the whip cracking, yes.
I'm sure Councillor Beard, you'll be there too to make sure he does a great job again. Councillors, is there any other comments? If not, I will just say there's a remaining allocation of the budget is 33,000 is left in the budget. So I would encourage all communities out there to have a look, see what they can fit in which stream and what they could do. We would love to spend that money rather than giving it back to revenue. So that'll be great if you could have a look, and there's 33,000 just over that left in the budget. If no other comments, we'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. 10.8 is the General Local Laws 2025. Miss Bennett.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider and adopt the General Local Law 2025. This proposed local laws will regulate and control activities on council land and private land to protect community safety, public amenity and the environment. The Local Government Act gives councils the powers to be able to create local laws, and this proposed local laws will replace the existing General Local Law and Livestock Local Law, which sunset on the 15th of December this year. There's several key changes to the proposed local law, including clarification of unsightly land and the assessment of unsightly land, introducing some additional requirements around long grass and private property in urban areas to address community concerns around amenity outside of the fire danger season, increasing the number of cats and dogs in urban areas, including clarifying the numbers of other animals in urban areas, and increasing the flexibility of caravan park occupancy and camping on private land, given current housing and labour hire accommodation shortages. The proposed local law was developed by reviewing the existing local law, other councils' local laws, as well as engaging with key stakeholders. Maddox lawyers were engaged to provide a legal review of the local laws as well. Community feedback was invited on the proposed local law during October and early November, with 7 submissions received. These submissions are attached as a separate cover to the report and summarised in the report. The feedback from these submissions have been considered in the development of the proposed local law for council. A solicitor's certificate has been prepared by Maddox lawyers, which is attached to the report. This certificate is a requirement of the Local Government Act and certifies that the local laws have been prepared in accordance with the Act's requirements. And if council makes the decision to if council resolves to make the local law, council must then place a notice in the Government Gazette, and the local laws then commence on the day after gazetting. There's a recommendation before you.
Thank you, Ms Bennett. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Canady, do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Beard. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I know there's been an enormous body of work gone into this, and really meticulous work as well from Ms Bennett and the local laws team. They've gone into a great deal of detail and done a lot of research to try and get this policy right. And, you know, as we know, it is in the interests of the community that the local laws are well structured and that they can be, you know, I can't think of the right word right now, that, you know, it's possible to manage the expectations that we have on the community in terms of looking after our public land and also things that sometimes happen on private land as well. I think it certainly did well in terms of the community consultation through joint conversation that we had. There was a lot of collaboration with neighbouring councils to research best practice in terms of applying local laws. And also I think if you took the time to peruse the community impact statement, when you see the detail and the number of changes and updates in there, certainly it's been very comprehensive in terms of taking a careful look at our previous policy, taking account of that collaboration and learning from neighbouring councils and putting together a document that's more suitable you know, for today and looking forward to, I'm not sure how long this document is. When would it be renewed again, Ms Bennett?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. It's a 10-year.
10 years, yep. Right, so that's a long period of time, you know, to be sure that we're going to be able to manage our local laws. So I think it's been done very well. It set some very good standards and expectations, all there to protect the community and community safety and amenity. And I think it's a document that's going to be great value to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Beard.
Thank you, and through you, man. Certainly concur with Councillor Kennedy. I think what's the best, it's probably no different to just before when we adopted the new funding policy for grants and funding around, we're just making things a lot simpler and streamlined, and this is no different, basically bringing two local laws together as one and having it all in the one place, which I think makes it easier on those that are interested in reading a local law first to begin with. But even when we reference it, for us as councillors and for officers and then our enforcers, it's just so much easier to work your way through it. Two standouts for me when I think about what comes across to me as a councillor in my community is around, you know, the detrimental impact on amenity. Or I think in years we've often called it the unsightly look. And one of the bigger ones is we've actually got a number against it around grass exceeding a certain height in an urban area, except when grass is grown as for fodder on land greater than 0.4 of a hectare. This is one thing particularly that's quite relevant at this time of year, but if you think of a school ruler, 300 millimetres, 30 centimetres, that's the height now that we can actually intervene and say, yeah, that's not right. So it takes away that perception of what one person might think is unsightly to what another person might think. So I love that that's been included. That's probably one of my most favourite lines that's been added. And then I think around the fact that we've also got there no more than 2 unregistered, disassembled, incomplete or deteriorated vehicles, which includes cars, boats, caravans or farm equipment in an urban area which is visible from the road frontage. That's another thing that really gripes me, that is continually being having to be followed up, and it's spelt out really quite clearly, and I really appreciate that the officers have now got it in as I said, a more streamlined policy here that we can all reference to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Is there any other comments, councillors? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 10.9, Domestic Animal Management Plan 2025 to 2029. Ms Bennett.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. Purpose of this report is for Council to consider and adopt the new Domestic Animal Management Plan. Under the Domestic Animals Act, Council is required to prepare a Domestic Animal Management Plan every 4 years. This plan outlines how Council will manage cats and dogs in accordance with the Act. It seeks to promote responsible pet ownership and the welfare of cats and dogs, whilst also protecting the community and the environment from the detrimental impacts of these animals. The new plan was developed using animal management data collected over the past 4 years, such as registrations, impoundments and infringements. A community survey was undertaken also during October and early November to better understand the community's issues relating to cats and dogs, but also to test some of the priorities in the draft plan. The draft plan includes a number of initiatives and actions for the next 4 years, covering a range of topics from responsible pet ownership to cat overpopulation to dog attacks and nuisance animals. It has a large focus on education and awareness around responsible pet ownership, recognising that prevention is the best approach for compliance, and most people want to do the right thing if they understand what those requirements are. With that in mind, some of the key initiatives in the plan include increased education for pet owners on responsible pet ownership to reduce compliance issues, information and education to residents about options to mitigate excessive dog barking, making information around pet registration more accessible, particularly for culturally and linguistically diverse communities, and raising awareness around the importance of including animals in your emergency plans. The recommendation is before Council.
Thank you, Ms Bennett. Councillors, there's a recommendation for you. Is there a mover for that one, please? Councillor Higgy, is there a seconder, please? Councillor Constrain. Councillor Higgy.
Thanks, Mayor, and thank you very much, Ms Bennett, for the presentation. It's the domestic animals is it's great to have a draft plan in place, and as you have said, educating pet owners towards responsible pet ownership is a key component of this plan. Understanding responsible pet ownership, understanding what registration of domestic animals means, understanding the rights and pitfalls around excessive dog barking, and making sure menacing or dangerous dogs are managed, and pretty much ensuring that people are aware and do have their domestic animals included in a household emergency plan. So all of these, in a nutshell, there's plenty more in the paper, as you can see, as you can read. But they were the key points as far as I was concerned. So we're very happy to move this draft plan.
Thank you, Councillor Higgy. Councillor Constrain.
Yes, not much to add. Thank you, Madam Mayor. It was interesting to read the document. We've got 2,500 dogs registered and 1,000 cats registered. So our local laws team do a really good job. We quite often see on social media popping up there's a picture of a dog or a cat looking at rehoming or reuniting, and I think we can't stress enough the importance of having your dogs microchipped and registered. Your dogs and cats, because they'll come back to you much quicker than you having to ring around or drive around the streets if they're picked up by neighbours who pass them on to our local laws team. So I'd like to thank you for the document. I know there's been a lot of work done in this space, and congratulate them on it, and just really think the idea of educating our communities about responsible pet ownership is absolutely paramount. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Constrain. Councillors, is there any other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I move on to item 10.10, Port Campbell Post-Project Completion Update. Ms McMahon.
Thank you, Mayor. The Port Campbell project reached practical completion at the end of March 2025. There were some additional works required which have been delivered over recent months. These works are now completed with the exception of the landscaping around the mosaic work on the foreshore, which is due for completion at the end of the year. Additional budget was required to undertake these additional works, with expenditure of approximately $215,000, which has been incurred. This covers project finalisation work, such as the supply and installation of additional infrastructure. Example, additional bollards were installed, additional landscaping materials, for example, the limestone rocks that were installed, the extension of the site cameras, additional seating and picnic tables, and additional landscaping outside of businesses. There was also expenditure for repairs, for planter boxes, retaining walls, the driveway and signage repairs. A safety audit was undertaken to ensure all safety requirements have been met, which resulted in some minor infrastructure revisions being undertaken. There was also expenditure for an opening event, which was required as part of the funding agreements, which was conducted on the 8th of August this year. There's also some expenditure for staffing, which includes work for above business as usual scheduled maintenance works, which was undertaken by our Works and Parks and Gardens teams. The works were required to ensure community and business needs were met and that the full benefits of the revitalisation project could be realised by both the local community and visitors to Port Campbell. Councillors, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms McMahon. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hickey. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'd like to note from the outset that while this project has delivered a modern and a world-class town centre, members of the community have raised genuine concerns about some aspects, from timing through to landscaping choices and post-completion works, and I hear those concerns and have taken them seriously. So as a council, what we've done in response, we've commissioned and acted on a safety audit that identified minor infrastructure revisions, and they're now completed. Finalised additional works requested by businesses and residents, including seating, bollards, signage repairs and enhanced landscaping. I've completed rectification and repairs where items did not meet expected standards, ensured grant acquittals and audited financial reporting to the state and federal partners were completed in line with our funding agreements. So why the additional $215,000? Well, the original project reached practical completion in March 2025 and the core works were delivered, but post-completion spend covers necessary safety responses, targeted repairs, additional streetscape elements requested by the community and costs associated with the official opening, which was required under our funding agreements. These works were essential to make the project fully functional and to address issues that were raised by the community. But I will note, final cost was subjected to the required audited process and state and federal partners were kept informed through the acquittal reporting. Council prioritised works raised by local businesses and residents to restore confidence and usability in the town centre. Management of routine inquiries and day-to-day issues have been transferred to business as usual now, services to improve responsiveness going forward. Now, looking ahead, and I want to be really clear, this doesn't mean council's washing its hands of the project. We're not finished and we're not walking away. We'll keep a close eye on how the town centre beds down, what's working, what's not, and what's simply not fit for purpose. If something isn't functioning properly, we'll look at how it can be fixed through our normal maintenance and improvement processes. We'll continue taking feedback from locals and businesses because they're the ones using the space every single day. And importantly, the upcoming parking strategy. That'll play a big role in shaping how Port Campbell works into the future, especially as visitations grow. And that work will guide the next stages and steps of improving access, traffic flow and the overall usability of the township. And I move that council notes the project report and approves the total budget variation of $215,000, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Hickey.
Sure. Very happy to second Councillor Vogel's words there. It has been a massive project, and certainly Councillor Vogels has ridden every bump along the way with the project. So you certainly acknowledge that. And Ms. Lindley, and her team, who have also been instrumental in making sure that this project has been completed to the stage it's at the moment. So I'm very happy to second the recommendation too, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillors, is there any other comments? Councillor Beard.
Sorry, just a question if I can through you, Mayor. And sorry, Ms. McMahon, it is definitely without notice, so probably either yourself or Mrs. Lindley will hopefully help. Just getting some clarification. Now that we've had this, potentially we're all going to support this addition, reluctantly, I would suggest, and we've had a massive amount of money now expended through this project. Anything now going forward or surrounding anything down there, whether it be to do with the streetscape or not, it's just into normal maintenance budgetary process, and this is it. Thank you.
No more.
I just wanted to make sure because, yeah, I just want to clarify that done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillors, any other comments? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I'll move on to item 10.11, which is the petition for the Masonic Lodge land in Timbu. Mr. Broadbent. please.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. This report details a response to the petition that was submitted to Council at the meeting on the 28th of October this year regarding the proposed sale of the Timboon Masonic Lodge and the adjoining playground, both owned by the Freemasons of Victoria. Council currently leases the land where the existing playground is located, which is known as Timboon Masonic Park. The current lease expires in September 2026. Officers have liaised with the Freemasons regarding the proposed land to be gifted and have determined it was not suitable, not able to accommodate a playground of a suitable scale that would benefit the community. There would also be significant costs to relocate the existing playground to the proposed gifted parcel of land. Officers have provided a number of recommendations to Council, including not to accept the proposed gifting of land from Freemasons Victoria, not to object to the sale of Timboon Masonic Hall and the associated land by Freemasons Victoria, and encourages Freemasons Victoria to make a financial contribution towards the playground feature at Timboon Township Playground site. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Broadbent. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Hickey, do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Cole, Councillor Hickey.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And I certainly would begin by acknowledging the 460 residents who have signed this petition and acknowledge the work of Linda Pender in collecting these signatures. It's clear the community cares deeply about the Masonic Park place base, which has been an important part of life in Timboon for many, many years. So the concerns raised are genuine and are heard. Council has engaged with Freemasons Victoria and have indicated they may sell the overall site but are willing to consider a small portion of the land as a gift. Officers have accessed that parcel, and unfortunately it does not meet the requirements of the existing playground because it's too small, it's unsafe for access and for parking, and it does not meet the playground management policy. So, Mayor, if Council continues to keep we promise to keep the community informed, if Freemasons Victoria is open to further negotiations that genuinely includes the existing play space, Corangamite will reassess that option with a full report back. So I have no trouble in accepting or moving the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a tough one. It's been there a long time, and now the Freemasons have decided to cash the site and take the money, and all of a sudden the whole it's going to be a different purpose, different use of the land, etc. So what was once always there is not anymore, unfortunately, or won't be. It is a great little spot in Timboon. It's on a much bigger parcel of land than the Masons are offering, so to shrink it back, and you've got a major road running past it, which is in that area it's very hard to park or to see the cars coming. I know I've driven past it many times, and it's not an easy spot to stop and let children out or pick them up. I wouldn't be comfortable doing it for my kids, and it needs a bigger parcel of land to make it truly viable, I think, in my regard. So anyway, I have no trouble seconding this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillors, any other comments? Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll be backing in the officer's recommendation, and not that I really want to be doing this, but unfortunately Council doesn't have a magic money tree, and we have got a playground in every town that we support and put money into, and that obviously comes with a lot of recurrent costs and stuff. And these other playgrounds that were put in as part of community groups, and it shows what happens when you start losing your community groups. When Apex goes and the Lions goes, or Freemasons, then you start losing the niceties that they used to bring to the community as well. And it's just something that unfortunately Council can't just keep picking up the slack on these things as they disappear. So maybe we need to get people to start running Apex and Lions and Masonic Lodge and volunteering and joining and fundraising and building community parks. But it's very unfortunate that that's something that Council can't just keep stumping up for.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Any other comments? Councillor Beard?
Oh, sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. This is a really tricky one. I mean, I've seen it happen in Cobden. I remember a particular, there was a playground that we had and it was a long way away from home and it wasn't the main playground, but it had a better slide. So that was the one we always went to. And then, of course, you lost the volunteers who used to look after it and who actually were probably the overseers, I guess, of that playground. And I agree, the policy now states that we throw all our efforts and I guess we have to have safe playgrounds at the end of the day. So we throw it all behind one major one in a township because otherwise we'd love to do more than that, but we can't. It's getting trickier and trickier, and I'm sort of looking at Mr. Broadbent here because you have the playgrounds under your watchful eye, but just around the risk of playgrounds now and how they have to be upkept, and if they don't pass the audit, then it's a lot of money. I mean, gone are the days where you could spend, I think we used to allocate even, I think 50 grand or something to do up our playgrounds, and now you'd be looking at probably 5 times that. It's got really out of hand. So if council were to take on such a piece of infrastructure like this, it's going to be a lot of money to get it up to where it needs to be. That's my only concern. I actually get really disappointed when we have community groups bail out on responsibility and they don't see the bigger picture and how important it is that they could have a lasting legacy and they could re-gift things back to the community. So it's disappointing that that hasn't basically played out in this case from the Freemasons. So, but yeah, I'll be supporting the officer recommendation too. I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I have to look at the bigger picture.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Any other comments? I'll just say mine and then you can wrap up because you have the final word. I think I'd like to also thank Linda Pender for putting together the petition, and I think it really speaks volume that 450 people have signed this petition and calling for the protection of the playground and the Sonic Park. That just really resonates with me and just speaks so much about what the community feels and the town of Timboon feels, but just not Timboon, but the wider community as well. The playground has served many generations of the Timboon children. At the moment where it sits, it's safe, it's central, it's well loved, and protecting the site would have meaningful, lasting gift to the community that has been part of for so many years. Instead, the Freemasons have offered a parcel of land that is really too small to operate a functional play space. And to be honest, I feel it's a little tokenistic. I feel like they're just saying, here, we'll just give you this little piece of land. We won't worry about the rest. Doesn't matter what the play equipment you've already had on there for many years. I just feel it's just a little bit tokenistic. And I acknowledge that the Freemasons are absolutely under no obligation to gift or to subdivide any land to us at all. And they're fully entitled to sell the property as it is because it's a private sale. I understand that completely. But this playground has been in our town for many, many years, and I think we just need to have a look at that and they need to acknowledge that. And I think selling the whole site and allowing the playground to be lost will create a real hurt and disappointment within the Timboon community and also the wider surrounding areas. But this is just not a piece of equipment. It's where children learn to play, it's where parents meet, it's where memories have been built over decades and decades. And the community actually sees it as theirs because the council has maintained it for years and families have relied on it for generations. And I just feel losing this play space would leave a big gap for Timboon. And we saw on Grays the Day, which was a great event, Councillor Cole, I agree, but the main play space, main playground was fenced off. So no general community could go in there and use that playground while that was being fenced off for the day. So I feel that we need this play space in Timboon as a secondary one for Timboon to have another option, because we know the one in town gets very, very busy and we need to have another option for everyone. And I agree with the policy, Councillor Beard, that we only maintain one major playground per town. I understand that and I get that. But we have already been maintaining this playground for quite some time. We have engaged with the Freemasons and will continue to engage with them to advocate for a better outcome and try and make sure that the community wishes are seen through. But at the end of the day, this is about community pride, community history and community wellbeing. Timboon is really speaking loudly with this petition and I'd love for this play space to stay in town where it is and generations can learn to love it as we go forward. So So it's really disappointing what I have to do today. I would like to have a better outcome for the town of Timboon and the community, but at the moment we don't. So we're going to hopefully go back and have a frank discussion with the Freemasons and try and find a better option coming forward. So, so I'm a little bit disappointed and just feel that we need to stand up a bit better for ourselves. So, thank you. Councillor Hickey, do you want to sum it up?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I certainly do feel for the community. I have been involved with the creation of playgrounds myself over my service club careers, and have since moved away from them, and they've fallen into disrepair because of it's an ongoing cost for someone else to maintain. So I do feel for the committee for what possibly will happen here, but also do note that the council write back to notes a petition. And writes back to the lead practitioner and thanking them, and certainly advises that council has spoken with Freemasons Victoria about the potential gifting, and so all that is still ongoing. But still very happy to move the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillors, no more comments. So, all those in favour of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Call on to other business. Councillors, do we have any items of other business you'd like to raise at the moment?
Yes, Mayor, if I may raise one issue. Some time ago, and I am getting a bit of a reputation for bringing this particularly up, but the truck wash of Corangamite was served by the Camperdown community and the Camperdown sale yards was closed in August 2024, and it has since not been re-established, forcing livestock operators and transport drivers to choose one of two locations which are a fair distance apart and continually stay in the line with other trucks in front, costing time, costing drivers money, or cost operators money, and probably leading to, or possibly leading to, other biosecurity events that may well contribute to that. So, if I may, through the chair, ask the CEO, what are we doing with the task force, and where exactly is this up to? Because the community is fairly keen to find out what's happening.
Thank you, Councillor Lincoln. Through you, Mayor. Firstly, thank you for the question. I certainly acknowledge the importance of truck washers in the region, particularly in terms of supporting the local business. As you recall, we met with the steering committee representatives back at on the 29th of September, and with representations of Agriculture Victoria as well, who also met with local livestock transporters and key stakers. We also undertook some site visits as well. So the next meeting, I'm pleased to say, Councillor Hickey, for the steering committee is scheduled for the 9th of December. So I'm probably able to provide a further update after attending that meeting. I've also been advised that the final report is due to be completed and then made available to the Minister in March 2026. And I think from that, at that time, there'll be a number of recommendations, which I am hopeful will include the establishment of a track wash in the region, if not Corangamite Shire Council. But that's, I guess, at this point, optimistic, to say the least. But that's probably the update I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
Thank you.
And no other business? Has there been any questions or statements submitted online, Mr. CEO?
Mayor, there's been nothing submitted online.
All right. I'll move into the open forum, number 12. So, members of the gallery, you can stand up to the lectern, say your name. You have 5 minutes to speak. I will give you a warning when there's 1 minute left to go. So, feel free. Who's first?
Just before I start, my matter is about a subdivision, but I'm very passionate about the playground. Can I speak on those two matters?
Yes, you can speak on those two matters, and you can have 5 minutes on each matter.
Thank you.
No worries.
I don't actually have anything prepared for the playground one, but...
So we go playground first?
Playground first.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Darren Blaine. I live just outside of Timboon. attended Timberton High School since 76 or whatever it was. This is separate to what I'm here for, but the minute I walked in the door, I heard the words surplus funding, and now I hear that we can't afford to keep a playground going in Timberton. So if you look at Timberton, there's two sides to Timberton. There's a playground down the bottom, and that playground's up the top. So they service probably half of the town each. I heard the words gifted. When somebody wants to gift something, don't knock it back. Go and have some negotiations with them and say, can we get a bigger parcel of land? There's got to be something you can do. So the other thing is, how big is the gifted land? We don't know. I just asked them to them. Nobody knows. How big is the parcel that they're offering up? So we'll make that question on notice, okay? We'll put these in as questions on notice. So that's number one. Detailed map of the gifted land. Question on notice number two. Who will be doing the negotiations from the Shire with the playground? Number three, what is the cost to the Shire for upkeep of the playground? They're the three questions on notice that I've written down very quickly. The mention of community groups before, that they're disappearing. I've spent probably 40 plus years volunteering collectively on different committees, and I can tell you it is thankless. No one thanks you, no one cares. You are constantly attempting to get funding, fighting everything, and we've lost a losing battle at Princetown after 100 years of community-run rec reserve. So when you talk about people volunteering, it is a huge part of your life, and there is plenty of people that are willing and passionate, as you can see by the signatures, to keep this playground going in Timboon. So what we need is, and what they need, is for the Shire to support them, not to knock it back. You've got surplus funding, you've got the ability, go back to them. Go back to the Freemasons, see what they can do. That's all I've got to say. That was very quick. Thank you for your time.
Do you want to do your other item while you're there?
I'll go back up in a minute.
Okay, all right.
And thank Linda, she's very passionate about it.
I just want to say, we're willing to...
Can we just move the microphone down first, please? Thank you.
Is that right?
Thank you.
We're willing to do fundraising, get grants for the park to make it look much better. What else are we? Look, if we lose the park, we have kids there, we have bus parties. The kids at the end of the year have their breakups there, and we have street parties, a Christmas party, and things like that. What else have I written? I just feel, you know what? I just feel like after hearing certain things, it's like kids' playgrounds aren't important anymore. So they're not. You know what? We want kids to go out and play in green spaces. And, you don't want them inside on computers and stuff like that. Yeah. What else? Oh, God. But do you know what? I know you know that Timboon Freemasons, when they built it, that land was donated to the Timboon lot, not Melbourne. Melbourne took it off them when they borrowed money off them, and they never gave them back the, what do you call it?
Title.
Yeah, that thing, the title. Yeah. So, and Timboon Masonic Lodge people weren't happy about that, and they're still not. And I did look into asking them, did they pay back the money that they got off them, and they did. So, yeah, and it sounds like they've done it to other people too. They've taken it off them and never given back. Oh, gosh, I don't know what else I want to say. But I knew they had a peppercorn agreement with the Shire, and I thought it was a 99-year one. That's what I heard. It was off a lady that used to work at the Shire, and she said she was working there when they done it. So I don't know what a peppercorn thing is. Yep, I don't know what else to say. I think I said it all last time. But thanks for listening.
Thanks, Linda. Thank you. Did well. Thanks, Linda. Did well. Mr. Blaine?
I won't introduce myself again. I think everyone knows. Sorry, I'm going to move this.
I don't think you can. I think it's stuck.
Firstly, thanks for the opportunity to address council. We have a subdivision application that was refused by the planning department and council, so we're off to VCAT. Our plan was to subdivide the house in 4+ hectares, and the balance of the land, approximately 67 hectares, was to be sold as an out paddock as it's too small and unviable as a small dairy farm. We intend to continue rearing calves using the existing infrastructure on the smaller subdivision lot and grow them out on our other 2 out paddocks located at Warrie Road and Timboon, or just out of Timboon. All 3 lots will be used for primary production. My first question on notice is, why are we being forced to VCAT to continue in primary production when there is no change in land use? Comment 2. The house will be used to alleviate the critical shortage of housing for farm employees and labourers. Question number 2 on notice. This has 4 parts to it. A is, how many houses are not in use in the Corangamite Shire? The number of houses that have been, B, the number of houses that have been refused subdivisions and are dormant/derelict. Question C, the number of houses that have been demolished. Question D, the number of houses that are scheduled for demolition. So this is the third part of it. Third part of questions on notice. What is the current population of the Corangamite Shire and how much has it decreased? Less houses equals less population. B, that was A, this is B. Has the Shire carried out a macro or micro economic assessment of the monetary loss to the Shire and community with all these houses sitting dormant, derelict, demolished? The associated loss of potential government grants and funding, which is population based and covers all types of government funding, including roads, education, hospital, etc. If a study has been carried out, what were the results? If no study has been carried out, why not? Question number 4 on notice. By refusing subdivision applications and housing availability, that's a comment. A, the question is, what is the cost to ratepayers for the Shire's legal expenses in the last 3 years for VCAT hearings? In dollars terms, and how many potholes would that be fixed for that money? Further questions on notice for the VCAT hearing. Question number 1. Everyone knows what a question on notice is? Good. How many subdivision, this is, all the following questions are related to land zoned FZ1. How many subdivision applications have been approved in the last 7 years on land zoned FZ1? Question number 2 on notice. All these questions are on notice. Number of subdivision names and applications of addresses of approved subdivisions, along with the reason the application required a subdivision. Question number 3. Number of subdivision applications approved by the planning department and reasons for granting these applications. Question number 4. Number of subdivision applications refused by the planning department but approved by council and the reason for granting these applications. Number of subdivision applications refused by the planning department and refused by council and the reasons for refusal. Apart from ours, how many subdivision applications have been refused where the applicant wishes to carry on with existing primary production on the subdivided land? No change in land use. Question number 7 on notice. The number of battle axe or keyhole subdivision applications that have been approved by either planning or the council. This one all relates to councillors on and land on FZ, zoned FZ1. Question number 8, number of Shire councillors who have submitted subdivision applications. Question 9, number of Shire councillors subdivision applications that were approved and who approved them and the reasons for approval. Question number 10, the number of councillors subdivision applications that were refused and reasons for refusal and who refused them. That's all I've got to say, and thank you very much for your time. And myself, along with all the residents of Timboon, support Linda in the fantastic job she does. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blaine. Mr. CEO, I'll pass it over to you about the questions on notice.
Thanks, Mayor, and through you. And firstly, acknowledge Mr. Blaine and the questions. And I guess there's a lot of questions there, Mr. Blaine, which I acknowledge, and you've obviously taken you've taken a great deal of time to prepare. There are some items where it's just simply not appropriate for council to respond. That's particularly in relation to the VCAT matter, and that's because it is going through a legal process. So please hear me out. But I have an obligation, having not been in a position to answer your questions today, to provide a response to you within effectively 5 working days. And that response might be to say that we need further time to collate the information. Some of the questions just may not be appropriate to be responding to, particularly those of a private matter or a sensitive matter in relation to council's personal circumstances.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. For a clarification?
Well, yeah,
You have 2 minutes, Mr. Blaine.
So what questions, for those questions on notice, 5 days is too short, okay? There's a couple of weeks there, at least. So in those questions on notice, a question on notice is a question that can't be answered at a meeting, requires numbers, figures, statistics, whatever else. But they are required to have an answer.
Mayor, through you, there are, I guess, where we are able to provide an answer and where we're legally able to provide an answer, we will provide an answer. Where it's not appropriate to provide an answer, particularly in relation to ongoing legal matters, and that's pertaining to your VCAT matter, then that matter is, I guess, subject to a legal process, and it's not appropriate that council respond whilst that legal process is underway. And it's my understanding that you're back in VCAT in February next year?
Correct.
That's correct. And so I think it's totally inappropriate that council reply directly to the nature in relation to your planning permit until that hearing has been completed.
Thank you, Mr. Blaine. We'll take this matter.
Can I just have clarification on what you just said? Sorry, Dan? That last bit. You were not going to give us the answers before VCAT. These are required before VCAT. This is discovery for the VCAT hearing.
I understand, and there's a process to deal with discovery of documents and information.
Thank you, Mr. Blaine. We can take this matter up further. Thank you for your questions. We understand. We have taken them on notice. We'll give information where we can. I'm just cautious that some things are heading towards VCAT, and we need to be careful of that as well. So we'll take this on notice, and we'll make sure we'll follow this up with you in due course. Thank you, Mr. Blaine.
Thank you.
So I call for a motion to suspend standing orders, please. Can I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Castrain. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. So lastly, I'd just like to say thank you to Ms Anderson. It's your last day or last week with us this week. I thank you for your time with us. It's been great to have you in the governance team. I wish you all the best for your future, and I'm sure we'll see you around working at One & Water, but thank you for all your time and effort you've put into Corangamite Shire. Thank you very much. And on that note, I would like to say thank you everyone for watching. I look forward to seeing you at every function that's happening around the Corangamite Shire in the next month. There's plenty happening, so make sure you get out there and enjoy the festivities, and I'll see you next month. Thank you very much.